This is an earned benefit that you have paid for and deserve.
That was Representative Larson in his latest clip about protecting, enhancing, and increasing Social Security benefits for all Americans on Social Security. Why not? Why not help Social Security, and why not increase the payments for Social Security? I'm going to play that full video clip of Representative Larson. Also, we have this. Senators pitch $1.5 trillion investment fund for Social Security. Now, before people say, hey, they're trying to privatize it, there's actually a Democrat who is behind this. It's a bipartisan solution that could help Social Security pay more benefits longer and maybe potentially higher benefits. So I'm going to go over that, give you the latest details, let you know the latest with Social Security. Before I dive into the big content, if you appreciate the Social Security updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Social Security updates. So we have senators pitching a $1.5 trillion investment fund for Social Security. Now, as I mentioned before, there is a Democrat behind this as well. So there's no privatization here, but it could increase Social Security's ability to pay benefits for a longer time and maybe for hundreds of years if this formula is used to pay Social Security. So I'm going to give you the details on that. But first, here's the latest clip with Representative Larson. It's actually a mashup of clips that he just put on his channel, so I wanted to share it with you. One of my favorite clips here is when he is calling out Elon Musk. Now, it's a really good one. You might have seen it before, but pay attention to the guy next to him in glasses. His look always just cracks me up as Representative Larson is going full purple, speaking out here. So take a listen to this. It's really good. And then I'll go over this bill with you on the other side.
Concerns are mounting over reported plans to gut the Social Security Administration. Representative John Larson was outside the East Hartford Social Security field office with other advocates today. He says President Trump and Elon Musk's Doge team want to close field offices and lay off up to half the SSA workforce. He warns that would disrupt benefits for 70 million Americans. Representative Larson says Social Security is not a handout, it's federal insurance.
This is an earned benefit that you have paid for and deserve. It doesn't have to do with anything related to government efficiency. It has to do with providing a tax cut for the ultra wealthy.
Today, Representative John Larson announced a legislative response to Doge's efforts to access Social Security data. He and other House Democrats will introduce 3 bills, including one aimed at blocking that access.
We want them in front of our committee and answering questions about what their goal and specific reason is for this data, and in the process insisting they have no right to it.
Another bill is aimed at keeping Social Security field offices open, and the other is a resolution of inquiry to compel President Trump to disclose to Congress information about Doge activity at the Social Security Administration.
We're an equal branch of government, and you start off with a blather, and yet look at the empty seats here. Where's Elon Musk? I'm sure he's a genius and is a very credible person because of the wealth he's accumulated. But that does not put him above the law or the responsibility to come before this committee in this Congress. If he's so great, if these plans and all the fraud and abuse that he's found are so eminent, why isn't he here explaining it? You know why. Because he's out to privatize Social Security. He's been on television the last couple of days talking exactly about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and what he intends to do. Privatize it. The American people, some of them may have been born at night, but not last night.
I think that is probably my favorite clip of Representative Larson. The full passion there, the look of shock with the guy next to him. I think it's one of the best. Hit the like button for Representative Larson if you support what he is saying, what he is for, how much he's done for Social Security. Hit the like button there. So, all right, so we got senators pitch $1.5 trillion investment fund for Social Security. What to know? So this is a bipartisan duo in the Senate has been garnering attention for a pitch aimed at shortening the solvency of Social Security. So this idea is pushed by Senator Bill Cassidy and Tim Kaine. It calls for $1.5 trillion over the next 5 years into an investment fund that would be given 70 years to grow. So with this growing over 70 years, could be so big with the economy, with everything going on, it could last, I think, even longer than that. So what Cassidy said here is it is something to save Social Security and to save benefits following the people, frankly, will either already depend on them or will depend upon them going forward. Here's what the lawmakers and some experts have said so far. So how it works. While senators have yet to release text for the plan, Cassidy said the government would create an investment fund separate from the existing Social Security trust funds into which government would place $300 billion annually over the next 5 years. And then the money would be invested into stocks, bonds, and other investments. And Cassidy said it would be held in escrow for 70 years. Excuse me. Any dividends being paid, for example, flow back into the investment fund. As that occurs, we also repeal the law requiring that benefits be cut to match income. The Treasury Department would be responsible for making up the payments for those 75 years, at which point the fund would pay back the Treasury Department and use its remaining funds to supplement Social Security payments, according to the senator. So I think it's a pretty good idea because they're basically taking $300 billion per year for 5 years from the government, putting it into an investment fund, having it grow over 70 years. If you look at the past 90 years invested in the stock market, let's say the S&P 500, it has a historical growth of 10% per year. So there's a lot of compounding interest when it comes to that. So this is separate from the Social Security Trust Fund. This is a separate fund altogether. So what he's saying here, Cassidy argued that the plan would not add to the national debt, which currently stands at more than 30 trillion. It's actually 37 trillion. And the reason is that if you have money in escrow account, you could always just empty the escrow and pay off the treasuries required to do the initial funding. And so even though we're borrowing that money, it does not increase our nation's indebtedness, and investment income will exceed the interest that accumulates on the money borrowed. So Cassidy estimated that the plan could generate at least 70% of the borrowing required to pay the benefits over the next 7 decades. So I actually like this idea. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you fully understand it. So basically, they want to take they want to take separate money from Social Security, create a fund, let that fund grow over time, investing in stocks, index funds, mutual funds, bonds, and then that money will be used to supplement Social Security in the future, because we all know that Congress is probably going to rob Social Security again, but this account won't be able to be accessed for 70 years. So at least there'll be something growing on the side. The senators have said they're still collecting input on their plan, but the pitch is similar to a previous effort headed up by Cassidy that involved a coalition of senators from both sides of the aisle, saying in a previous Congress, we had 7 Republicans and 7 Democrats. We're putting that coalition back together. As senators continue to socialize the idea, Cassidy said there's more than a handful of Republicans who have said they will openly support or they look forward to supporting, but they just plan to learn a little bit more, saying we really felt we have to socialize the idea more before we get down to legislative draftsmanship. This is coming from Senator Tim Kaine. So so with this idea, so the alternative here, the trust fund for Social Security, a lot of people think you're paying into Social Security, such as myself, how I'm working. Part of my paychecks go into the Social Security fund. It doesn't go in a lockbox and pay me, 20, 30 years from now. It's actually paying the people on Social Security right now, which may be you. So there's no fund where it's it's growing, or it's being saved, or it's being invested, getting a 10% return per year. Nothing like that. I think it's something like 1.5% return with an inflation of at least 2% per year. The system is broken for Social Security. There needs to be a better way to have these funds available for future generations, more available for you.
Hi guys, this is Belle. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing that you should do. So when you have to treat people equally, and make sure that if you treat people nice, they'll treat you back nice.